Once upon a time in the deep blue sea, there was a gang of sharks led by a big, bad shark named Fang. Fang and his shark gang would swim around all day looking for little fish to eat. They were especially fond of eating the colorful clownfish that lived in the coral reef. One day, Fang and his gang were swimming around the reef looking for some clownfish to eat when they saw a little fish swimming all by itself. Now, this little fish wasn't a clownfish, but it was very colorful and the sharks wanted to eat it. The little fish knew that the sharks were after him, so he started to swim as fast as he could. He darted between the coral heads, thinking that maybe the sharks wouldn't be able to follow him in there. But the sharks were too quick and soon they were right behind him. "Give it up, little fish," Fang said. "You can't hide from us forever. I'm not scared of you." The little fish said, even though he was shaking with fear, "I may be small, but I can outsmart you any day." Fang and his gang all laughed at this. They thought the little fish was just trying to make himself feel better. "Oh yeah, well, let's see you try," Fang said, and the sharks all closed in on the little fish. The little fish took a deep breath, and then he started to swim as fast as he could. He zipped and zoomed all around the reef, and the sharks had a hard time keeping up with him. They were big and strong, but he was fast and agile. Finally, the sharks got so frustrated that they just gave up and swam away. The little fish was so happy that he had outwitted them. He thought he was pretty clever, honestly, because no other little fish could outsmart the shark gang. From that day on, the little fish became known throughout the reef as the smartest fish around. All of the little fish would gather around him and listen while he told them stories about how he outsmarted the sharks. Now, Fang and his shark gang were pretty embarrassed that they couldn't catch that little fish. They tried everything they could think of to catch him, but nothing worked. The little fish was just too smart. One day, Fang had an idea. He called all of the sharks together and told them, "I have a plan to finally catch that little fish, but it will take some time. What do we have to do?" The sharks asked. "We need to find somewhere else to live." While that little fish is telling all the other fish how smart he is, they're probably telling him that we're too slow and that we can't catch him. "If we live here, everyone will know that we're not as good as that little fish, and I don't want that to be the case." All of the sharks agreed with Fang, and so they started to look for a new home. They swam around and around until they finally found a cave that was far away from the reef. It was dark and gloomy, but the sharks didn't mind. They were too happy to finally be away from that little fish. The sharks had barely moved into their new cave when the little fish swam right past it. He was on his way to tell all the other fish about how brave he was for swimming right past the shark's cave. "Wow, that was close," he said to himself. "I can't believe how much trouble those sharks would have given me if they had still been living in the reef." The little fish had no idea that the sharks were now living in a cave nearby, and he never found out what happened to them. The end.